Tang Yuexian. Well, you can go back. I can pass on Yunfeng's things, you can learn freely, he can pass on you freely. In the future, Yunfeng will be your brother. Then she disappeared. Yunfeng scratched his head and said, will I call your older brother or your brother? Yi Ming's face was stern. Big brother naturally, can brothers be closer than brothers? Yunfeng grinned, brother, you are so calm, I thought you would agree. Do you want me to promise? Yi Ming asked. I just think that this is good for big brother. Although the specific situation is not known yet, Master seems to intentionally let you enter the land of creation. As soon as he mentioned the land of creation, Yi Ming moved his mind, and Qinglian told him that the legendary academy was like the trial, and that the most talented people could enter the land of creation. Thinking of this, he asked, Brother Feng, have you been arranged to enter the land of creation? Yunfeng said for a moment, who listened to brother? Yi Ming. Don't you know? Yunfeng was silent. I just guessed. There should be only one person from the legendary school to enter the land of creation. Yi Ming said, I was told that if I stay, it will have a great impact on you. Yunfeng was startled. Is it why brother has left so long? Yi Ming nodded. I can go to the trial road, I can go to the sword world. There are many opportunities to look for the future, and I don't have to stay. You and I are brothers, and I have to think for you. Yunfeng patted his thigh. What do you think of brother? Who said that there is only one place in the land of good fortune? As long as you have enough qualifications, it will not matter if you enter 10. Take me, if you can't pass the final test, enter the land of goodness is also nonsense. Quote. Yi Ming froze. Is Qinglian lying to him? Yunfeng. Brother, who do you listen to? Yi Ming didn't conceal it, and said it in 151. After listening to Yunfeng, he repeatedly sneered. Brother, this sister Qinglian is not worthy of belief at all. Behind the legendary school, there are indeed three major forces. My master is one, and Qinglian is one. That third, this is the master of Zanfu. Qinglian hopes that his elder brother will leave the legendary school, only because of his master's intention. Quote. Yi Ming. How do I say this? Naturally, that person doesn't want Big Brother to stay, because once Big Brother stays, it will endanger his interests. Yunfeng said. Yi Ming. Master said that he had eaten the loss of Nangong's prosperity. Do you know this? Yunfeng. How did I know about the early years and master will not tell me brother, you still listen to me, promise master, and complete that thing. Yunfeng was startled. Don't it be against your heart? It seems that there is a question in the longevity, and it seems that the elder brother will be able to easily break the barrier. It's far. Yi Ming patted his shoulder. After a while, I'm going to the sword world. Would you like to go? Yunfeng shook his head. I can't go, I have too many things. In a few days, I will be on the Is the trial road starting again? It seems I can't keep up. Yi Ming smiled bitterly. Anyway, if I get the benefits, I will divide half of the big brother. Yunfeng grinned, very heartily. Yi Ming asked, go to the trial ground, do you have any means to defend yourself? Yunfeng. Not necessary. Can't carelessly, I will give you a set. The mother and son slay the needle, and save their lives when they are in danger. He said, regardless of whether the other party wanted it or not, stuffed it directly into his arms. Yunfeng smiled. Brother, this thing is too vicious. Yi Ming said coldly. Others want your life, do you want to be gentle with him? Yunfeng nodded, closed it, and said, brother. I'm afraid it will take me a few months to return to the trial ground. If you return from the sword world first, don't go back to the nebula. The nebula is a Protoss running dog. I personally don't want you to be there. Quote. Yi Ming gran. The Protoss of the Protoss. What does this say? Outside, I don't hear anyone say that. Yunfeng sneered and immediately told Yi Ming some secrets that only a few people knew. It turned out that although the people scattered in various places, transportation was difficult between them. However, the collapsed ancestral continent is converging towards the center, and the barriers between the big worlds are getting weaker and closer. Protoss have killed numerous potential human civilizations in history. Even so, the Protoss were still uneasy, so they decided to support some forces in the tribe. After millions of years of accumulation and development, three major forces have emerged, namely Nebulism, True Godism, and Soulism. The three major religions, each one hegemonic, are huge in size and control many human civilizations. Because the three major religions control the population, they can develop a large number of minerals, collect unlimited resources, and collect a large amount of taxes. And most of these incomes have entered the pockets of the Protoss and become their development force. Not only that, the three major religions provide a large number of slaves to the Protoss each year. These slaves must have certain cultivation, their appearance must be correct, and their bodies must be symmetrical. Human slaves were sent to the mines, farms, manors, etc. of the Protoss to perform various labors, and even to be servants and slaves to the Protoss. What is even more horrifying is that the Protoss have the habit of eating human fetuses on each program. As a result, hundreds of millions of pregnant women are sent to the Protoss every year, and their cesarean workers dig their babies for the Protoss's consumption, causing countless housewives to lose their sorrow and despair. Yi Ming heard this. His face had changed, and he murmured, "I'm outside, why have I never heard a similar statement? Because the people who know it dare not say, the people who dare to say are already dead." Yunfeng said, "You now understand why there is no disciple of the three religions in the legendary school." Yi Ming sighed. "It seems that I really shouldn't join Nebula." Yunfeng. Brother, there is no future in the Nebula religion. Even if it is successful, it will definitely become the executioner of the Protoss and the sinner of the human race. Brother doesn't need to leave. It's so-called not to enter the tiger's hole, to win the tiger. Brother can be the undercover of the legendary school and do things for the master. Yunfeng laughed. Yi Ming rolled his eyes. "Speaking of it, you still want me to promise master?" Yunfeng. Brother didn't want to go against his heart, but it should be changed now. Yi Ming was silent, and said a long time later, "Brother Feng, let me think about it for a while and come back from the sword world." Yunfeng glanced from side to side and secretly said, "Brother, I know something. Some time ago, Master met intensively with a master of the Tianyuan continent. I have met, so I always feel that something big will happen." Yi Ming burst into his heart. What did the legendary school do? Yunfeng. Although the legendary school has three forces, they have always been consistent in major events. Since the master opened his mouth, they will never embarrass you again. Yi Ming. Okay, I see. Brother Feng, be careful when you go to the trial road, I have to go too. The two brothers waved goodbye, and Yi Ming left the legendary school and returned to the Tianyuan continent. Just after Yi Ming left, Tang Yuexian appeared in a hall of the legendary school. Opposite to her, there were also two ghost images, with the same momentum. "You still called him," said a ghost. "I asked Qing Lian to walk away from him because I was worried that his departure would change our plan." Another phantom. "The appearance of this sun has made me vague about the future. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. I don't want it anyway." Tang Yuexian. Two brothers, it is not a bad thing to have variables. Even if we have done it, can we keep it for a few years? Even if we have the protection of the artifact, it will last for up to 1,000 years. What will it be after 1,000 years? Will it be revived? But someone has to do it. Our legendary school has trained so many geniuses, and it's time for them to contribute. Xu Ying said. Tang Yuexian. I have accepted Yi Ming as a disciple. As long as he promises to do things for us, I will cultivate him with all my strength. And don't forget, he is also one of those 100,000 secretaries. Master's chess is not easy to come to this step, we must cooperate fully. If you insist, we have no opinion. However, all future consequences must be borne by you. The two men said in unison. Tang Yuexian. Natural. But if you get credit, don't rob me. That ghost image. I keep calculating, I always feel that there is a flaw in this matter, but I don't see where the flaw is. So the emergence of Yi Ming should not be a bad thing. As long as he is ours, everything will develop in our favorable direction. Tang Yuexian said, he is going to the Sword World, maybe it will bring surprises. Quote. That Sword World trip, 9 deaths in a lifetime, this son is very unlikely to survive. After all, the prodigy genius, non-human race can fight. Ziying said, I'm bullish on him, Tang Yuexian said. The time for the Sword World to open finally came, and the Sword World token shot a ray of light directly to the sky. And in the high sky, a large divine light was lowered and wrapped in Yi Ming. In the divine light, a teleportation pattern is outlined. When Guanghua flashed, people were sent away. In the space-time passage, Yi Ming flew for several hours before finally feeling that his feet sank and stepped on the ground. This is a forest with tall trees and ground covered with unknown weed wildflowers. As soon as people landed, Yi Ming watched vigilantly, but did not see other participants. It seems that everyone is scattered. Brush. Suddenly, a sword light fell from the sky, fell in front of Yi Ming, and turned into a purple, short crystal-like sword. It twisted and changed, and was very strange. At the same time, the familiar voice sounded, you are finally here. Yi Ming. Is it you, nameless? Purple dagger. Please master to sacrifice me. Yi Ming immediately cut through his fingers and dripped blood offerings. The purple dagger is very cooperative. When a sword groans and blood is connected, it turns into a purple electric power, which appears on Yi Ming's wrist and turns into a bracer. Yi Ming said, you fly like electricity. You will call it Zidian in the future. Thank you for your name, Zidian said. Master, there are many aliens who landed nearby, and we quickly leave. Yi Ming. There are many aliens, why? Zidian. Back to the master, the Sword World sent a total of 31,000 places. Among them, more than 24,000 were taken by the aliens. The human races only received more than 6,000, and the number was only 4 points of the aliens. About 1. Quote. Yi Ming narrowed his eyes. That is to say, there are 4 aliens around everyone. No wonder you say that there are many aliens around me, but where can I hide? No matter where I am, the number of aliens is always the most of. Zidian. The host came here to see several supreme swords. Before seeing them, they must save their lives. This is the most important thing. When Yi Ming was about to speak, he saw a scream coming from not far away. He flew into the scene and arrived at the scene. I saw the body of a human teenager lying on the ground, but his head had been removed and he was missing. Zidian. Master, the aliens have started hunting. It's hunting again. Yi Ming sneered. He knew that alien races had the habit of hunting human races. He didn't expect that this kind of thing would happen in the Sword World, and unlike him, he also became a prey in the eyes of alien races. Brush. Suddenly 3 figures fell. Yi Ming looked up, and 3 of them came, all wearing white robes and gold crowns, as if they were from the same force. The 3 glanced at the body and asked Yi Ming, did you kill someone? Yi Mingqi didn't hit one spot. Did these 3 people have no brains? He didn't bother to answer, turned and left. Stop. The older man snapped. Yi Ming turned around. What's the advice? Yi Ming was so angry. He said, are you blind? This man was cut off. He was clearly killed by hunting by an alien race. You can't see it. The man was said to be blind-eyed, suddenly furious, and screamed, boy, no matter what civilization genius you are, here you are not qualified for your arrogance. At this time, a large number of aliens suddenly appeared in all directions, counting at least 20 people. Most of these aliens have humanoid shapes, but there are slight differences. For example, some have horns on their heads, some have wings on their backs, some have leopard heads, and some have snake faces. In the face of so many aliens, the 3 people who were still buzzing Yi Ming suddenly looked dignified. Yi Ming thought that when they were about to make a shot, all 3 of them suddenly knelt down and said loudly, God of God, I wait for 3 people who are true gods, and your servants. The aliens looked at each other, looked away from them, and stared at Yi Ming. Yi Ming shook his head. Yunfeng said that the only religion, the nebula religion, and the true religion are all puppets cultivated by the gods. It seems that the words are true. The three stood up and said excitedly, God, please let us take care of this boy. Don't get your hands dirty. The aliens really stopped and looked at the scene with interest, wondering how they would deal with Yi Ming. The expressions on the faces of the three people were surprisingly similar to those of the aliens. They looked at Yi Ming with a contemptuous, cold look. Boy, you're trying to kill yourself, don't blame us. One person spoke, and the three took out a long sword and surrounded Yi Ming. With the three swords together, Yi Ming recognized that this was a set of powerful swords. So he didn't wait for them to shoot. He moved. The purple electric sword and the invisible sword were turned into two sword lights, shot in a slick manner, one to the left and one to the right. And himself, pointing to the middle man. The three-man sword formation has not yet been formed, and in a hurry, they can only block with a sword. Fortunately, the people on both sides said that they easily opened the sword. The middle man only felt the impact of a terrible force. His sword broke directly in front of this force, and then there was a blood hole in his chest. There was still a terrible force brewing in the blood hole, so the next second, his body banged and exploded, turning into the blood of the sky, and then condensing into a blood shadow, which was collected by Yi Ming into his fingertips. It can be seen that after absorbing this person's energy, there was a hint of blood on his fingers. This is exactly his skill, the blood-splitting finger of the earth. This cracked earth blood refers to the integration of blood light to kill magical power. After the blood light kills, magical power can cut and kill people, they are turned into blood gods, and then absorbed. The stronger the blood goddess attracted, the greater the number, and the stronger the power of blood light killing. The blood-splitting finger of the earth splits the three magical powers of the god finger, blood-killing, and finger-splitting fingers. It also has their characteristics, and its power has been doubled. In addition, with the enhancement of the three supernatural powers of Yi Ming's sacrifice finger, ground split finger, and blood light killing, the power of this magic skill will also increase. For example, Yi Ming's Zhu Xianji refers to Zhu Xianjian Fa, and his Zhu Xianjian is the sixth most important. If he can reach the ninth, the power can reach the extreme. Similarly, the time to learn the cracked finger is short, and there is still a lot of room for improvement. Yi Ming's blood-splitting finger killed one person at a time, and transformed it into a blood god, absorbed it, increasing the power of blood light killing, thereby indirectly increasing the power of the blood-splitting finger. The other two saw their companions killed and were furious. They swung Zhangguang away and killed Yi Ming. Yi Ming sneered. 5 colors of light appeared on the palms of his hands, sharp and unparalleled. His body flickered, and there were shadows everywhere, and the world seemed to be still. The next moment, the afterimage disappeared. Yi Ming had appeared 10 steps away, carrying 2 people on his back. The 2 men still maintained the position of wielding a sword, but each person had hundreds of wounds, and all of them were vital. Dang! The sword fell to the ground, and their arms, heads, shoulders, etc. followed the ground and became dead bodies. They could not die anymore. Yi Ming just used it, which is his newly created stunt, the Big 5 Elements instant killing technique. This stunt combines the Big 5 Elements killing technique and the killing step. It is very sharp and has amazing lethality. Yi Ming was shocked by the tribe. They also claimed that they were not much stronger than the 3, and they were killed so easily. Doesn't this mean that this humble human can also pose a threat to them? Intentionally or unintentionally, these aliens began to retreat subconsciously. Want to leave? It's too late. Let's stay. 10 afterimages, 1 by 10, 10 by 100, hundreds by thousands, thousands by thousands, spread all around in an instant. The aliens roared and furiously resisted. However, it was just a face-to-face meeting. These people had all fallen to the ground and no one survived. Most of them turned into blood sons, which were absorbed by Yi Ming's fingers. At this point, the finger had become blood red, as if it was about to drip blood. Killing more than 20 aliens in a row, Yi Ming said, the strength of these aliens is very weak. Zidian. It's not weak, but the host is the fourth-rank genius. These people are rank 3 or 5,000. Naturally, they cannot be compared with the host. However, if the host meets the top 10 or even the top 50 people, then be careful. Quote. As Yi Ming spoke, he took off the treasure sacks and storage rings on the body. Just open one and take a look. There are a lot of treasures in it. The least valuable ones also have tens of billions of longevity coins. You know, these are the geniuses in the alien race, the elites in the elite, and the net worth is naturally indispensable. The wealthy ones are huge net worth. All of this adds up to 3 to 5 trillion. If I kill more than 24,000 aliens, why would I have to have 40 to 50 billion eternity coins? Yi Ming suddenly became excited and felt that this trip was the right one. He picked among these many treasures, and found some useful things. One of them, named Qianqin Shenyi, was made from the skins of ancient strange animals and fantasy beasts. After being put on them, they were unpredictable and could change into any image without being seen. The second thing is a rope called a dragon rope. Just chant the spell, this rope can fly over to tie up the opponent, even the real dragon can tie up and kill. In other words, this thing can bind even the power of Changsheng 9 realms. However, there is a prohibition on this rope, and its former owner apparently has not been able to crack the prohibition, so it cannot be used at all. But no matter what, this thing is definitely a treasure, worthless. The third thing is a giant bow with a length of 800 meters and an inscription of 300,000 inscriptions. This bow is called Sunset. The bow string is made of 9 dragon tendons and 9 phoenix tendons, and the bow body is also made of 9 supreme irons. However, the threshold for using this giant bow is very high, and its previous owner was obviously unable to pull it open. Because the prerequisite for using this bow is that the glyphs on it must be lit at least 1, and the power required to light the first glyph is up to 100 billion kilograms. After getting the sunset bow, Yi Ming couldn't help but wanted to try it out. He tried his best and immediately sang, "Open." Long. It was as if the sound of a sharp opening in the sky was dull and harsh, and it was frightening. The bow was finally pulled out a tiny radian, and the upper scale suddenly lit 2 squares. A glyph represents 100 billion kilograms, which shows that Yi Ming's power has exceeded 200 billion kilograms. Although the bow was pulled away, but there was no arrow, Yi Ming was very sorry. He thinks that if he can have an arrow that matches it, even if he is powerful, he can shoot with an arrow. Pick out these 3 treasures, and others are put into the ring of the great world. Next, he put on 1,000 fantasy ***** clothes, and turned into an image of an alien who was killed by him. This 1,000 fantasy ***** clothes are very strange, and even the breath of the alien is imitated. It is impossible to see through the most familiar alien. After becoming an alien, Yi Ming cleared the scene and left with a big swing. Before walking too far, 3 other aliens came forward. These 3 aliens are of the same kind, with pointed ears, no nose, and only an ugly bone with a hole exposed outside, looking very sick and horrible. At first glance, the alien in the middle was Yi Ming, and asked, "How can you be the one who got off the firepower? Where did the others go?" Yi Ming thought that the alien he was disguising himself was called Huo Lichuo, and he said, "I'm going after a human being." "Did you also find humans?" The alien smiled, stretched out his hands and patted them, and 3 beautiful women with unparalleled looks appeared in front of them. All 3 women were undressed, showing snow-white jade muscles. Although curled up, Yi Ming can see that they all have proud bodies, enough to make most women feel ashamed. Yi Ming jumped at his heart, and asked, "Where did they get the little human girl? They look beautiful." "Haha." The alien grinned, "Let's get back and enjoy." The shape of aliens is not much different from that of humans, and most strangers have a strange phenomenon. That is people, they think that human beings are more beautiful than their own. Therefore, They are very interested in human women, especially beautiful women. Yi Ming nodded. Nice, good eyesight. Speaking of this, he suddenly looked behind the three of them and wondered, why, how are they back? The three turned their heads subconsciously, but as soon as they turned around, they felt that their necks were cold, and they suddenly lost their heads and died instantly. Yi Ming received their storage tools, then looked at the three women, thinking about how to deal with them. The three women were already despairing, and Yi Ming, who was easily regarded as an alien, was staring at it. Her heart was even more angry. The middle man cried angrily, "Animals, we will not let you go as a ghost." Although Yi Ming killed 3 other aliens, the 3 daughters did not regard him as a good man, and they also regarded him as an admirer. This was the killing of the other 3 aliens. In their opinion, falling into Yi Ming's hands, I was afraid that the end would not be better. Yi Ming knew that they had misunderstood and immediately took out 3 shirts and threw them on them, temporarily covering the boundless beauty. At the same time, he took down the 1000 fantasy **** clothes and restored his original appearance. The 3 women were stunned, but they were all ice snow smart women, and immediately knew that Yi Ming was a humanoid posing. The 3 women's faces flew into red, shook their heads, and said, "Thank you for your help. Yi Ming, you have been banned, can I help you untie it?" Middle woman. There are Ron people. Yi Ming was well versed in the prohibition, and stretched out his hands on the shoulders of the 3 women. He overpowered the power and easily broke the prohibition under the alien race. The 3 women were all light at once, and saw the 3 groups of colorful lights rise and wrap them. The next moment, the 3 women had changed to 3 sets of purple, blue and red dresses. The 3 women changed their shirts and bowed down. Little girl Xian, Lan Shu, Hong Zhan, thanks to the benefactors. Yi Ming laughed. No need to thank. Where are you from and how were you caught by these beasts? Nazi Yan was wearing a purple dress, Guazier's face, and her attitude was a bit cold. She said, "Return to benefactors, we are all Confucian disciples. As soon as we entered the sword world, we were caught by aliens. We thought that Shu was not weak. If you know an opponent, you will be captured in a few moves." Yi Ming said. There are far more aliens entering the sword world than humans, and I am afraid that most people will encounter the same as you. Lan Shu wore a blue skirt, round face and eyes, saying, "The benefactor's strength is really terrible, so he easily killed the 3. The killing method is sharp and decisive. Is it immortal?" Buddha. Yi Ming. I am from the martial arts civilization of the Tianyuan continent. Hong Zhan said. So it is no wonder that benefactors have such a means. Lan Zhu said. Sister is nothing to be shy. She looked at Yi Ming and said very earnestly, "Benefactor, my 3 sisters will be beneficiaries in the future." Okay. Yi Ming was stupid, but he immediately understood. This Confucianism and Taoism are the most particular about human relations, and women are more conservative. They must have seen the undressed beauty of the 3 women before, so they said so. Seeing Yi Ming's face astonished, Xian said, "Benefactor, we had a heart of dying. Now seeing the sun again, it can be described as a rebirth. This kindness and affection can only be reported to each other. Then, our bodies, it has already been seen by benefactors. If the benefactors do not want us, we will have no choice but to return to the door without a face." Yi Ming smiled bitterly. Isn't it so serious? Zhonghu's sons and daughters, how can there be so many rules? I'm also rude about Confucianism. Compared with those great meanings, these rules are not important. Xian said positively. No, master said, the journey of thousands of miles begins with one step. The embankment of thousands of miles breaks in the ant's nest. If we can't insist on small things and start from daily life, how can we uphold the Confucianism? Yi Ming knew the people of Confucianism and learned dialectics since he was a child. He knew that, but they could only say, "But master also said, don't do anything to others. I don't see your body because of it. It was deliberately not bad, but to save you. Why should you bother me?" The 3 women suddenly showed grief. They suddenly worshipped Yi Ming together, and then pulled out the sword at the same time. They wiped their necks. Yi Ming was frightened, his fingers continued to smash, and the swords in the three women's hands shattered in anger. What are you doing? Lan Shudao. What the benefactors taught is that we should not force our benefactors to make choices, and we must not abide by the rules of Confucianism, so we can only choose to die. Yi Ming didn't know what to say. Life is so precious. These silly women actually committed suicide because of this. He sneered. You are more ruthless than forcing people. Come on, get up. You later, it's my carry-on, bitch. Quote. For the three daughters, he was quite annoyed. Although he did not want the three daughters to die, he liked being coerced as such and gave them the status of niece. Who knew that the three women were not angry and anti-happy, and thanked them one after another. Unknown host name and last name. Hong Zhan said. Yi Ming. My name is Yi Ming. Don't call me master in the future, you have to call him master. The three women actually nodded obediently and said in unison, Master. Suddenly there were three more tails behind him. Yi Ming didn't know if he should be happy or depressed. However, he soon got an idea and said, there are too many aliens in the sword world, and we will meet more in the future. I have an idea that you should be bait to lead those aliens into the trap, and then I will put them eradicate it. The three women hate the aliens. Not long ago, they were not as good as alive, so naturally they nodded. Yi Ming. The number of aliens you bring in each time is better not to exceed 100. Pay attention to protect yourself, you must lead them to their destination, not catch them halfway. Master, rest assured, we can still do this. The three women chanted in unison. Okay, I'm going to set aside, you go and take a break. I must have suffered a lot these days. After that, I gave some spiritual fruits to the three women. The three women looked at the extraordinary fruit and were very happy. They all stood aside, depending on how Yi Ming set the ambush. Yi Ming released 10,000 rune crickets, and ordered them to kill the warriors within a radius of 100 miles. It takes time to set up a team. It takes 3 days for this big team. However, Yi Ming felt that his understanding of the sword formation was insufficient, so he took the opportunity to practice. At that time, he repaired the Shenshin sword formation to the 6th level, and it took a lot of effort. But now, almost a single thought, he realized the 7th weight. After a quarter of an hour, he realized the 8th weight. At an hour he realized the 9th weight. 4 hours to 10th, completed the 11th in half a day, and completed the 12th in 3 days. At the beginning, the Sky Fox God practiced a separate set of swordsmanship, and it took half a day. Yi Ming practiced 4 swords at the same time: sacred swordsmanship, killing swordsmanship, trap swordsmanship, absolutely magic swordsmanship, and only took 3 days, very fast. 4 sets of 12 swordsmanships can be used to set up a 12-layer sacred sword array. The power of this magic sword array triples with each leader. He was already quite powerful when he was 6th. Today, the 12-fold sacred sword array is nearly 10,000 times more powerful than it was then. Although the three women were bound by the rules of Confucianism and became Yi Ming's niece, they were quite curious about this master. Yi Ming released 10,000 rune arrays at once, and they were not surprised. Everyone is a genius. Who doesn't have a family of tens of billions of longevity coins? Enough to buy such a kit. However, within 3 days, they watched Yi Ming practicing a set of swordsmanship. The momentum continued to increase, 3 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, and they were shocked. Finally, Yi Ming was completed on the 3rd day, and the divine sword array broke through to the 12th. As a result, the powers of magical powers and magical skills related to the God of Gods sword array have also increased, such as God of Gods fingers and blood-breaking God fingers. Among them, the God of the Gods refers to the direct upgrade to the quasi-nirvana. The blood-splitting God of the fingers has become a proper nirvana, and the power is not under the big 5 elements killing technique. At the same time, the power of the sacred sword array laid by the rune fighters has suddenly increased by tens of thousands. The 4 bands of God were completed one after another, and the whole array changed. The 4-handed Excalibur, suspended high in the air, became the hub of the large formation. In the big battle, the murderous spirit and the sword light are the only way for longevity to come in, and there is only a dead end, and no life is possible. A large array of 10%, a rush to the sky, then disappeared. Hong Zhan said in shock. Master, this is a big battle, the aliens will be afraid of the bad mold. Yi Ming. The aliens are very rich. Everyone has hidden tens of billions, and the rich have trillions. So if we kill a few more, we will earn a few more. Ziyan said excitedly. Master, can we move? Yi Ming nodded. After 3 days of rest, you should have recovered. Okay, let's move. The 3 women were very happy, one person, one direction, and immediately started the bait program. They are not low, and their strength is not weak, and they quickly tens of thousands of miles. Because of her beautiful appearance, she could easily provoke aliens and chase them down. In less than an hour, there were the first batch of 5 aliens chasing Ziyan into the divine sword formation. As soon as they entered the scene, the 5 people turned black and lost their 5 senses. After Jian Guang twisted, all of them were different. These people are all alien elites, and Yi Ming didn't waste it while holding away the storage tools. He urged a blood power, blood nerve, that requires the blood of souls to cultivate. This blood nerve is much more brilliant than the blood shadow magical power practiced by Supreme Wind that year, and it is the 3 most advanced methods of blood civilization together with blood mother making gong, and blood elemental power. It's just that practicing this practice is contrary to the law, and you can grow up by plundering the blood of others. Later, you can even extract the meaning of sublimation from the blood of the enemy. However, Yi Ming now has ready-made cheap to pick up and practice with alien blood, but he has no psychological obstacles at all. Furthermore, the blood killing of his cultivation is the supernatural power extracted from the blood shadow magic. The blood shadow divine gong is the same as the blood clan method, although it is not as good as the blood nerve, it is also the same. At first, in order to obtain the information in Xingtian's head, he also practiced blood yuan gong, and practiced to the level of yuan shui. As a matter of fact, the 3 tribes of the blood race, the Trinity, promote each other and can be cultivated together. The 2 martial arts supporting the blood elemental magic are blood soldier and blood seal, which are extremely powerful. The process of cultivating the blood elemental power is the process of evolving blood. The original blood is called blood, and the top blood is blood, spiritual blood, true blood, holy blood, divine blood, blood of origin, and blood of civilization. There are 7 realms of blood. If Yi Ming wants to cultivate blood nerves, he must first practice the blood elemental power, so he can do more with less. The 3 major high power methods have their own characteristics. The blood mother made power is a power method that controls and plunders other blood races, and is specially created for the internal strife. Not the strongest, the blood nerve is a special attack and kill technique, similar to Xian Wu and Buddha Wu, so its nickname is Blood Wu. As a result, the blood of several aliens immediately condensed into 5 blood mists and flew towards Yi Ming. Yi Ming practiced the blood elemental magic, and a large array of blood refining appeared around him. Once the blood mist came over, it was concentrated into 5 drops of blood essence, and then continued to undergo heavy concentration, a total of 9 times, and finally turned into 5 drops of sesame blood droplets, which were sucked into the belly by Yi Ming and began to practice refining. A big drop of sesame blood actually contained all the energy, wisdom, genetics, and other information of an alien, which was absorbed by Yi Ming. These 5 aliens are all geniuses. They have the finest and purest blood in their family. After Yi Ming swallowed their blood, the blood in the body changed immediately. Within a short time, his blood was transformed from primitive blood into spiritual blood, and the quality was further improved. Compared with the improvement in practice, there are also many babies captured by killings. The things on the 5 alien races are worth 2 or 300 billion yuan longevity coins. In this way, more and more aliens are being introduced into the gods to kill, and the number is increasing. Only on the first day, hundreds of people died in it. The human blood above also allowed Yi Ming's Yuanshui magic to reach the fourth level of true blood. On the second and third days, unknowingly, 7 days passed, and more than 1,300 aliens were killed here. Yi Ming harvested more than 20 trillion yuan worth of long-lived coins. Of course, his blood power has reached the level of god blood. Yi Ming had to continue, because the three women also became more and more excited. The more aliens died, the happier they were. However, the death of a large number of aliens has finally caught the attention of the aliens. I do not know when, a large number of aliens gathered near the number of thousands, and is still increasing. In this way, the three women did not dare to go out, and no alien came in all day. Yi Ming knows the reason to accept it when he sees it well. For more than 20,000 aliens, he cannot kill them all. It is already a feat to kill more than 1,000. He immediately said to the three women, "The aliens are afraid to take action, let's withdraw." After that, he put the three women into the ring of the world, and then the rune array destroyed the large array, and recovered the 4 Excalibur swords. After doing all this, he immediately put on the 1,000 fantasy magic clothes and disappeared at the scene. After an hour, Yi Ming appeared in the alien race. Listening to their discussions, he seemed to be preparing to explore the surroundings. In recent time, thousands of aliens have disappeared inexplicably, which made them vigilant, and more experts arrived. Knowing that these aliens did not know the truth, Yi Ming was relieved a lot. He no longer stayed long and left soon. After a while, he saw a bamboo forest. The bamboo forest is white, and the sword chi is vertical and horizontal. Purple Dian Dao. Master, in front of the sword bamboo forest. Sword bamboo. Can bamboo that emits sword air? Zidian. Yes, the master. A high sword was cultivated here, so all the bamboo in the bamboo forest was stained with sword. Yi Ming. Interesting, let's go and see. If the environment is good, I will repair the blood nerves here. He already has the blood, and it is very easy to practice the blood nerves, and it will be a few days. Zidian. It's very quiet here, I think so. The shape of the sword bamboo is no different from that of ordinary bamboo. As soon as Yi Ming Gang stepped into the bamboo forest, the surrounding environment changed, and he entered a space full of sword energy. A teenager, walking out of the sword, said lightly, "Your name is Yi Ming." Yi Ming was startled. The purple electricity had already rushed out, turned into a boy in purple clothes, and paid homage to the young man. Slave purple electricity, have seen the sword of the highest time and space. Yi Ming was shocked and said, "You are the sword of time and space. Old friend, are you there?" The young man laughed. The boy from time and space came out, and he looked at the young man, and said, "The sword of time and space is indeed you. It turns out that you haven't left the sword world. I have looked for you for so many years, but I didn't expect to see it today." Yi Ming has the breath of a master, no wonder you will follow him. Sword of time and space. Time and space boy. What's wrong, do you want to be Yi Ming? Sword of time and space. Exactly. After speaking, he bowed to Yi Ming and worshipped. Yi Ming hurriedly said, "Dare. You set up a battle line before, to kill aliens, I look at it. The sword of time and space, I admire it very much. Whether it is your qualifications or character, plus the blood of your ancestors, I'd love to be your weapon, walk the world and protect the people." Quote. Yi Ming never refused. "I will never let you twist. A sword grown, a sword that is invisible and invisible, even when it cannot be touched. When it appears, it twists time and space, and the surroundings become strange." However, Yi Ming really felt that he was holding a sword. "My master's practice is that I can't refine me at this time. The sword of time and space, but I'm already my master's weapon." Yi Ming. What about the sword of time and space, the sword of life and the sword of virtue? They have fallen. The sword of time and space sighed. Not long ago, there was another alien shot. Although we repelled each other with the will of heaven, the sword of life and the sword of virtue also fell. Yi Ming sighed. As a result, we are even more disadvantaged. Anyway, I think the Master's qualifications are against the sky, far from those of other aliens. The Master is the top 10 of the half-sword and got a ray of divine will. Next, as long as the Master beheads the remaining 9 to obtain the divine will, the real under the will of the sword world. Yi Ming. What then? By then, the sword world is the Master. Sword of time and space, but before that, the Master will defeat the Masters who have obtained the Karma sword and the Vanity sword. Because there must be a divine presence in them. Yi Ming. I see. In the beginning, you rewarded the top 10 people with their will, and that's the purpose. Yes, the Master. I hope the Master can win, and I can't help too much, everything depends on the Master's efforts. The Sword of Time and Space. Yi Ming. In the final analysis, I only need to defeat the owner of the Sword of Vanity and Karma. There is no need to collect the will of God. Because the other 7 wills of God will surely be taken by those 2 aliens. Yes, Master. Sword of time and space, the heavenly will of the sword world will have little effect until the 10 wills are fully collected. Yi Ming. The sword of time and space, since you are qualified to donate the providence, does this not mean that you yourself have taken part of the providence? Yes, the Master. At the beginning, our 5 swords entered the sword world and occupied 1% of the divine will. So we agreed that each person would take half of the divine will, a total of 2.5%, and evenly distribute it to the top 10 people. Collect 10 divine intentions. You can get all 25% of the providence. And a person who controls more than 30% of the providence of the sword world can control the will of heaven and earth. Yi Ming nodded. I see. After 5 of you have sent half of the providence, each of them is still half complete. Whose Master can have 2.5 of providence, and the 2 are 1, that is, 30% of providence, that central control providence of the sword world. Yes, Master. The sword of time and space, if the Master succeeds, he can become the Master of the sword world. Yi Ming remembered that Zidian said that the sword world is rich in resources and asked, are there any valuable things in the sword world? Sure enough, the sword of time and space. The sword world once belonged to the core of the ancestral continent, and there are many treasures. There are 6 sword worlds in the top 10 gold. We also have 5 kinds of top 10 law crystals. There are even more materials, many. Yi Ming's eyes lit up. If I control the sword world, can these things be used at will? Yes, the Master of the sword world will be the Master. Those are the Master's property, of course, they can be used at will. The sword of time and space. Yi Ming laughed. That's good, I will win with all my strength. I won't go to those aliens, I will stay in the sword and bamboo forest before the final decisive battle. Sword of time and space. Yes. Yi Ming practiced the blood elemental divine gong to the level of God's blood, and then he can practice blood nerve. This blood divine skill is a method of killing cutting power, and like the blood element divine skill, it is also 12. The first step in cultivation is to use your own blood to gather a blood god. The follow-up practice has little to do with Yi Ming itself, mainly to enhance the lethality of this blood god. In fact, this blood is very similar to Yi Ming's avatar. It is even more advanced than Avatar. It is not only restricted by Yi Ming's destiny, but also nurtures it, so that it continues to improve. However, the practice of this blood power is very and cruel. Before condensing the blood power, a blood pool needs to be built. The blood pool itself is a large array of many functions, which can condense any living beings into blood sperm and then devour them. The more blood that is swallowed, the stronger the blood pool. When the blood nerve reaches the 3rd level, it will be able to open up a world called Blood House. After the 6th level, the Blood House will be upgraded to the Blood God world, and at the 12th level, it will be able to open up the world beyond the 3 realms. 4 realms. Of course, the memories harvested in the Sea of Blood told him that no one has been able to cultivate his blood nerves to the 12th level. One of the most powerful ancestors of the year, he just practiced it to the 6th level, condensing the Sea of Blood. Therefore, Yi Ming seriously suspected that the back of this blood nerve is heavy, and I'm afraid it is unreliable. After all, no one has ever cultivated, it is likely that the creator imagined it out of thin air. Yi Ming didn't want to cultivate to a high level, he just wanted to gather a blood out. He began to release 300,000 days of labor, provided materials, and ordered them to build a blood pool. It doesn't take much to build a blood pool for the Bank of China, but he needs to invest a small amount of souls in the early stage, which makes him very headache. He was trying to stand, if he would attract some aliens to kill him, for the purpose of building a blood pool, and the Sword of Time and Space. Master, under this purple bamboo forest, there are many fossils of ancient beasts hidden. As the years eroded, it turned into a precious blood crystal. This blood crystal must help the master to cultivate. As the blood crystal, Yi Ming's eyes lit up. Dig a few pieces and let me see. The Sword of Time and Space vibrated slightly, burying it underground tens of thousands of miles deep, hiding in the hard rock. Blood crystals appeared in front of Yi Ming. This blood crystal was the size of a small calf, bright red, releasing a breath of terror, and it appeared to have been formed from the blood of some extremely powerful beast. Yi Ming's heart jumped wildly and asked, how many blood crystals are under the Sword of Time and Space? Sword of Time and Space. In ancient times, there should have been wars between fierce beasts here, so many blood crystals were left. I roughly counted them. There are about 3 million blood crystals here. Power is comparable to a house. Yi Ming said, what are you waiting for? Dig up more immediately. The Sword of Time and Space disappeared, so blood crystals one after another appeared in front of Yi Ming. This work seems simple, but the Sword of Time and Space cannot do it. Even the Gate of Time and Space cannot be as efficient as it is. After all, the functions of the two are different. The boy of Time and Space stood side by side with scorn to watch the excitement. When the Sword of Time and Space was not there, he said, Yi Ming, do you know what the Sword of Time and Space was before? Yi Ming was in a good mood and asked jokingly, what is it called? Is it not a sword, is it a knife? Time and Space sneer. It's not a knife, but a shovel. Yi Ming froze. Shovel. Yes, the shovel that specialized in mining shovel. The ancestors made it in order to dig things. Only later, the ancestors did not need to dig, and they turned it into a sword. But it was still a shovel. Yi Ming smiled. Okay, shovel, that will help me dig. Between the words, another blood crystal appeared in front of him. Yi Ming wasn't idle, and he spoke the spell, and the blood pool immediately started to work. Immediately after putting in a blood crystal, it burst into a mass of blood mold, and then condensed into a palm-sized blood vortex, suspended in midair, and slowly rotating. At the very center of the vortex, there is a strange rune, very bright. With the input of blood crystals, the blood vortex is getting bigger and bigger, and it gradually turns into Mu Shifang. The weather is amazing. The rune in the center of the vortex emits a thin strange light, penetrates the vortex, one end into the sky, and the other into Juyu. It seems that it is taking mysterious power from the sky and the land of Juyu. The key to CCB's blood pool is blood. Yi Ming has enough blood crystals, so CCB's speed is very fast. The blood pool vortex has expanded to 100 miles, and it is still growing. The sky was stained with blood, and the earth became red. Yi Ming has invested millions of blood crystals condensed by the blood of the beast. The blood pool's weather is naturally magnificent. However, this is enough. Such a powerful blood pool is enough to support him for some time. Seeing the time was ripe, he dropped a drop of blood and fell into a vortex. As soon as the blood of God touched the pool of blood, it exploded, carrying the will in him. There was a thunder, and the blood pool shrank violently, from a few hundred miles to the size of a washbasin. It was extremely bright, and the beam of light in the middle was 1,000 times brighter. At the same time, a pair of eyes emerged in the vortex, then a clear face, and finally a shape. It is a blood-colored humanoid, with the same image as Yi Ming. And it is Yi Ming's blood god. The blood stretched out his hand and the blood pool vortex shrank to the size of a palm, suspended above his head, and disappeared through the beam of light in the middle. Yi Ming knew that the first rebuild of blood nerve was completed. When he was about to communicate with the blood god, the god blood, which was finally repaired, suddenly shot out from the 7 holes, turned into blood god light, and flew into the blood god. Yi Ming was so weak that he sat on the ground with his buttocks. But he wasn't panicked, instead he was happy. I saw that the blood actually started to operate the blood element and magic. In a few days, the blood was turned into the blood of the origin. Later, he fed the blood of the origin back to Yi Ming. The blood of the became the blood of the origin, and Yi Ming suddenly felt that his blood had the essence of the origin. Spirit blood, true blood, holy blood, divine blood, blood of origin, and blood of civilization have their own characteristics. Spirit blood can nourish the physical body, true blood can nourish the soul, holy blood can repair physical and mental damage, blood can carry a person's memory, wisdom, and experience, and blood of the origin can. Yi Ming was able to rebirth with blood, and it was difficult to be killed. Even if other people have stabbed him, but as long as a drop of blood is left, this drop of blood can carry all his memory, wisdom, experience, and other life marks. Once the time is right and the environment is sufficient, it can regenerate Yi Ming and bring it back to life. The most important thing is that the blood of the origin can make Yi Ming's descendants possess the same extraordinary qualifications and inherit all his advantages, which is the most precious place. A creature with the blood of its origins, his offspring can only be stronger than him. As a result, this family will be stronger than the last generation, to the peak. Several times in a row, the blood in Yi Ming's body has been replaced with the blood of the origin. Although his strength has not improved much, great changes have taken place inside his body. With the blood of the original blood, the blood pool also began to evolve, quickly reached the 2nd level, and began to impact the 3rd level. The 2nd blood pool can create bleeding soldiers. The lowest strength is also the state of law. Next, a large number of blood crystals were put into it, and one blood soldier was created, 10, 100, and 1000. After all the blood crystals have been consumed, the blood has created 360,000 blood soldiers. The strength of these blood soldiers is roughly in the 3 realms of France. The magic soldiers can practice on their own, possessing certain wisdom, and will become stronger and stronger in the future. As soon as the blood soldiers came out, the blood began to build the blood house. However, Yi Ming had no time to continue to participate, because the sword of time and space told him that both the sword of vanity and the sword of karma had been passed down, and the final battle was about to begin. An hour later, the sword of time and space took Yi Ming to the endless desert. There are only 2 aliens in the desert. One is a Tauren with a height of at least 3 meters. The other is almost the same as a human, but it has no eyes. There are only 2 thin holes on it, which are the size of a pinhole. The sword of time and space sent Yi Ming away and disappeared, preaching, "There are no rules and no restrictions. Whoever of the 3 of you can survive will be the ultimate winner." Yi Ming sank deep in his heart and said, "It seems to be a 1-to-2 situation. I thought it was a 1-on-1 fight." The sword of time and space did not speak again, apparently separated. At the same time, he did not see the shadow of the sword of the void and the sword of karma. Presumably all 3 were observing in the dark and did not participate in it. The Tao Tao aliens, Banged, one step out, the dust was flying, and the ferocious air rushed towards the face. Wearing a gold ring on his nose, he laughed and said, "Bug, are you the master of the sword of time and space? You can fight with us." Yi Ming expressed a fearful expression, and said, "I have no intention of offending, but I actually don't want to fight with you. Do you think this is good? I will give you some money, and you spare my life." Nia two aliens froze. What? This human actually begs for mercy. He thought of everything, just didn't expect it. The Needle Eye alien was also quite surprised, saying, "Humble human, are you qualified to talk to us about conditions?" Yi Ming said, "There is a treasure in the lower hand, and the two will definitely like it, please see it." Then, he took a lamp out of his arms. As soon as the light came out, it flew up into the sky, emitting a huge amount of light, covering thousands of miles. At the same time, Yi Ming rolled over, away from the two aliens, and urged Ruyi robes at the same time. Some time ago, he threw a large amount of sacred armor and armor into Ruyi's robes and devoured them, and he only ate them the day before yesterday. Ruyi robes have improved tremendously and have a stronger defense. In a moment, Yi Ming was wrapped in a heavy light. At the same time, he also urged two magical powers, the bell jar and the iron cloth shirt, to carry the lights. It turned out that what he released was that evil weapon called the soul-burning lamp. As far as the lights go, all souls will start to burn. The two aliens never expected that this humble human would have come up with such a poisonous trick. All of a sudden, they felt that their souls were being roasted, all screaming. On the other side, even if Yi Ming had the robe of Ruyi, the soul was a strange one, as if tens of millions of ants were biting, extremely uncomfortable. The Minotaur screamed loudly and stretched out a black umbrella, which emitted a dark light to protect it. Needle Eye aliens took out a mirror and raised it to their heads. The mirror actually reflected all the light back. Although they responded quickly, their souls were still badly wounded, and their bodies were smoky. "Damn humans, we are going to kill you!" The two aliens roared. In the dark light curtain under the black umbrella, a shuttle came over, and the shuttle was star-studded with a glimmer of starlight. Yi Ming had already prepared. He knew that it was impossible to kill the other party in one fell swoop, and he had already prepared the dirty cloth. This tainted cloth is the treasure of the township of the Gon family, and it can infect all magical instruments. Seeing that the shuttle was coming, he reached out and rushed forward, and when he saw Wiguang flutter, the shuttle was gone, and then, flopped, from the half and plunged into the sand in front of Yi Ming. Yi Ming grinned, reached up, picked up the shuttle, and threw it into his pocket. The ox-head stranger froze, and said angrily, "Asshole, what demon method did you use?" Needle Eye alien said, "Be careful, he has a treasure contaminated with artifacts." Then, he took out a metal tube and shook Yi Ming. "Call." A colorful fire dragon fell towards Yi Ming. The real fingers were thin, but it reached Yi Ming's head, and it had turned into a sea of fire. Yi Ming was taken aback, not knowing whether the dirty cloth could catch the flame. He quickly stretched out the dirty cloth, covered his head, and covered his body. Pump. As soon as the flame touched the dirty cloth, it immediately went out, leaving no trace. The flame blew for a few breaths and then stopped. The Needle Eye alien gas became itchy and said, "What is that rag as a rag? How can it resist my 5 great fires?" The Minotaur said, "I'm here." His right foot suddenly slammed the ground, and a violent force burst into the ground. Then a giant salon appeared, rushed out of the ground, and hit Yi Ming. Seeing that the other party was using supernatural power, Yi Ming was relieved. He just pointed it out, a ray of light, thin as hair, and Ling Ling twisted forward. The huge salon was immediately broken into pieces, scattered into sand, and fell to the ground one after another. The Needle Eye alien suddenly said something in his mouth and uttered a series of obscure spells. The next moment, Yi Ming felt a strange power that began to act on his soul. But soon, another power in his body was about to move. It was the power that he gained first in cultivating the Supreme, the power of cursing. This cursing power, because it was too weak, Yi Ming had not used it. However, this does not mean that it is useless. At this moment, all the curses imposed by the opponent were devoured by it and used to strengthen themselves. Yi Ming even felt that the cursing power was beating cheerfully, as if very happy. The Pin-Eye aliens chanted all over their heads, but Yi Ming had nothing to do. He was about to give up, and Yi Ming suddenly said, "Oh," and began to roll on the ground, his expression very painful. Needle-Eye aliens were overjoyed. "Ha ha," laughed wildly. "Reptilian, you can hold up to now, it is a bit of a skill." It turned out that he mistakenly thought that Yi Ming was forbearing before, so that he had a wrong judgment. Where does he know that Yi Ming is now pretending to intentionally let him read the curse for a while, in order to strengthen the curse power in his body? Yi Ming kept rolling and screaming constantly. Needle-Eye aliens are almost extinct, but he is not dead. The Minotaur alien was already impatient, and said angrily, "Medellin, what are you doing? Aren't you saying that the soul essence of bone erosion is overwhelming and poisonous? Can't even the prince? How did this guy persist for so long? Wouldn't it be pretending?" The Pin-Eye has no strength to speak, and said, "You have a way. Why don't you take the shot?" The Minotaur snorted. "Shoot it, look at it." A golden light, turned into a dragon shape, grabbed towards Yi Ming. It turned out that the ox-headed alien saw Yi Ming rolling all the time, and felt so painful that he couldn't resist, so he shot and killed. Who knew that as soon as Jin Guang came out, Yi Ming sat up like everyone else, and took the dirty cloth forward. As soon as Guang flashed, the golden light was caught and fell to the ground, turning into a golden dragon cane. "Ah, my flying dragon stick!" The ox-head alien cried with heartache. Yi Ming put away the stick with a smile, and said to the stupid Pin-Eye alien, "Don't miss it." After a long time acting, Lao Su was impatient. You. The Needle-Eye alien pointed at him, speechless, and he didn't understand why Yi Ming was pretending, and why he was not afraid of such a powerful spell. Immediately, a divine providence came and merged into Yi Ming's spirit, which was the other party's will, and more than 10% of it. Yi Ming glanced at the soul-burning lamp. The light was getting weaker and weaker. This one-off thing was about to lose its effectiveness. He said lightly, "Having played with you for a long time, it's over." After finishing speaking, he threw his hand a dozen times, and the nailed arrow flew out, turning into a faint light and shadow, and then shot into the heart of the alien eye. The latter groaned, his body suddenly stiffened, and then remained motionless. In order to chant, he has run out of fuel and light, where else can he avoid it? He was smashed by the soul arrow and killed instantly. At this moment, the soul-burning lamp was completely extinguished. Yi Ming stood up and walked towards the Niatu alien. The Tao Tao was shocked. He put away the black umbrella, took out two huge axes from the back, and stared at Yi Ming. "Boy, how dare you fight me?" Yi Ming smiled. "Hey," showed his artifact, turned the sword mark, and said lightly, "I have two tricks. If you take all of them, I will spare you. Don't hesitate, pick up the trick." The ox-head stranger waved his double axe and severely fell to Yi Ming. The two black killing lights, like two light curtains, are cut left and right, and the power is amazing. Yi Ming held the sword mark in his right hand and performed the great 5 elements killing skill. He clicked out with his left hand and showed the blood-splitting finger of the earth. The two major nirvana techniques were performed at the same time, and the shining sword erupted into a dazzling light. The 5-colored divine light rushed, and the opponent's killing light immediately stopped, and the Tauran alien had a momentary stagnation. At the same time, the blood light formed by the blood-splitting finger also burst out from the ground, shot into the soles of the cattle's head, and then rushed up and straight into the brain. Flutter. The huge bull's head exploded, his brain splashed. Yi Ming would kill in one shot. After killing this alien, Yi Ming felt another divine providence coming into his soul. Suddenly, he had as much as 25% of the providence. In the void, two sighs came, and then he saw the two strange lights, one faint and dim, and one black as ink, broke the barriers of the world and walked away. At the same time, the Sword of Time and Space also appeared, saying, "Congratulations to the Master, you're done." The next moment, the Sword of Time and Space also gave him half of the heavenly will and handed it to Yi Ming, so that his grasp of heavenly intentions reached 30% at once. In a short time, Yi Ming felt the heavenly will of the sword world, which was a supreme will. In an instant, the two sides had a complicated exchange and reached a contract. The content of the contract is that Yi Ming can exercise many privileges on behalf of God, but at the same time, he must protect the sword world from invasion and destruction by outsiders. Only then did Yi Ming know that the so-called control of the sword world had more responsibilities than benefits, not as easy as he had imagined before. The Sword of Time and Space, my current ability, unable to protect the sword world, these 30% of God's will, I will take charge of it for you. Yi Ming said. This was his thought after thinking about the solution. The cultivation of the Sword of Time and Space is unfathomable. If there is any further help from heaven, it must be able to protect the sword world. Sword of Time and Space. Everything is told by the Master. Isn't the Master ready to stay in the sword world? Yi Ming shook his head. Not yet, I still have something to do. After a while, I will move in the Tiandaomen and let Xiao Dai to help you. In addition, I will buy you some 9-star battleships. In this way, as long as we don't meet extremely powerful people, we are not afraid. Quote. Sword of Time and Space. Will the owner take some treasures out? Yi Ming. No need. I killed a lot of aliens, and they are worth tens of trillions, which is enough for me to use for some time. Farewell to the Sword of Time and Space. Yi Ming asked the Time and Space boy to send him back to the nebula. Before Yunfeng revealed that the nebula religion was a Protoss of the Protoss, which made him very disgusted. However, he still wanted to observe for some time before he could finally decide whether to do things for Tang Yuexian. As soon as Yi Ming returned to the Nebula Mainland Inn, he released Xian, Lanshu and Hong Zhan. Seeing that they had left the sword world, the three women were very happy and asked, "Master, is this the Tianyuan continent?" Yi Ming. Here is Nebula. Upon hearing Nebula teachings, the three women's faces changed together. As the Master a disciple of Nebula teachings? Yi Ming. Really? The three women all showed grief and indignation. Xian said, "How can the Master be a Protoss running dog? We are so disappointed with the Master, please kill us." Yi Ming angrily. "How can I be a running dog? Why should I kill you?" Lan Shudao. The Nebula religion is a protagonist of the tribe, which is especially harmful. The Master is also a disciple of the Nebula, not a running dog. We are slaves of the Master. We cannot resist the Master, but we don't want to stay in the Nebula. Master, please kill us, let us be relieved. Quote. Yi Ming sighed. It turns out that you also know about Nebula teachings. But rest assured that I came to Nebula teaching to be undercover. He said so. The three women were overjoyed, and Hong Zhan asked, "Who does the Master do?" Yi Ming. Legendary School. They seem to have a big plan, but I don't know what it is, but since it is aimed at Nebula teaching, I don't think it will be a bad thing. The three women admired it very much. It's no wonder that the old man is also a legendary person in the school. Yi Ming. I'm here to work and it's inconvenient to take you, so I told you to return to your own civilization and practice well. When it's convenient for me, you won't be late again. The three women knew that Yi Ming was giving them freedom in disguise, and were grateful, saying, "Master is calling at any time, and we will come to serve at any time." After all, when the boy of time and space waved, the three daughters disappeared. As soon as the three women left, a Nebula taught his disciples to come and said, "Master, I have two things to tell you. First, you are already a Samsung disciple, and all treatments have been raised accordingly. Miss wants you to go." Yi Ming had killed Zhang Taisheng before, and got 1 billion credits. Naturally he was promoted to Samsung disciple. But what did Nangong Weiwei find herself? In Xingyan, Yi Ming met Nangong Weiwei, who was gloomy, staring at the ground in a daze, and holding a white cat in her arms. The white cat was impatiently held by her and kept twirling, but could not get rid of it. The cat's eyes, one eye is cyan and one eye is red, are very strange. I've seen sister. Yi Ming obediently saluted. Nangong Wei Wei. Yi Ming, where have you been? Yi Ming. Nowhere. Are you hiding from me? Yi Ming. Dare, and I don't have to hide from my sister. Nangong Wei Wei sighed softly, and said, after 1 month, I am going to marry into the Protoss. Do you have anything to say to me? Yi Ming froze. Marry into the Protoss. For a moment, he didn't know what to answer. Nangong Wei Wei. It's ridiculous to think. I used to think I could change my destiny, but now it seems that I still can't get rid of my fate. Yi Ming. The Protoss stands high, and there is nothing wrong with marrying there. Nangong Wei Wei said angrily, fart. What do you know? Yi Ming closed her mouth, thinking that she must be furious, and she was so swearing. Nangong Wei Wei. My aunt was married to the Protoss, but she only committed suicide after living for half a year. Do you know why? Yi Ming looked indifferent. Why? Nangong Wei Wei. You also said that the Protoss is high. Even if we marry the past, they are just their playthings and suffer various insults. Moreover, the Protoss has no husband and wife relationship, and any male Protoss can ask a stay overnight. Oh, what do you say is the difference between this and a farm animal? Quote. Ming. If the sister is not willing, you can leave. With the power of the nebula, where can I run? My family has the imprint of my family. Even if I escape to purgatory between me, she will be arrested. She smiled sorrowfully and suddenly told Yi Ming, I really want to drink, can you stay with me? Quote. Yi Ming was silent for a moment and nodded. Yes. A small building in Xingyan Mansion, this is the boudoir of Nangong Wei Wei. No man has ever come in, but at this time, Yi Ming was accompanying Nangong Wei Wei, sitting in her boudoir and drinking together. Wine is the best wine, so good that Yi Ming has never tasted it, because it is the treasure of the nebula. This kind of wine, even if Changsheng Jujing can drink it, you must be drunk, let alone Yi Ming. After drinking a lot of wine, Nangong Wei Wei became drunk, complained for a while, and cried for a while. Yi Ming rarely spoke and accompanied her to drink. The three alters drank, and even he was drunk, barely keeping his head clear. As for Nangong Wei Wei, she has been talking nonsense. She looked pink with tearful eyes and looked at Yi Ming with tears in her eyes, and asked, Little Leaf, do you say I'm pathetic? Yi Ming nodded and said with a big tongue, Poor. Nangong Wei Wei cried again and again. Little Leaves, I don't want to marry Shenfang. I don't want to be a tool for the release of those animals. I don't want to die elsewhere. Oh, can you help me? Ming sighed. I have no power and no power. How can I help you? It is your biological wants to send you into the fire pit. Who can defy him? Nangong Wei Wei suddenly grabbed Yi Ming's collar and said, Yes, I am powerless to resist, but I can decide that the first person to sleep with me is a man, not a farm animal. After that, she suddenly put Yi Ming froze, rolled over and pressed on the bed. Yi Ming was a little drunk. He was so powerful that he could easily push away the other party. But the ghost was terrible. He just pushed it symbolically, and hugged each other with his hands. Nangong Wei Wei is a beautiful woman with a big breast, a thin waist, and white skin. In short, he is an ideal woman for men and can meet all requirements. When Yi Ming pulled his hands, he tore up Nangong Wei Wei's shirt, exposing snow-like muscles and skin, and a pair of fleshy, flexible mountain ranges. Yi Ming had one hand at a time. With such a large palm, he was dissatisfied at once, and suddenly felt a great feeling. And his clothes were lifted by Nangong Wei Wei 3 times, 5 divisions and 2 divisions. The two met with sincerity and went deep into each other, from the body to the soul. You know what? That pity is me, Nangong Wei Wei suddenly said. I guessed it, Yi Ming said. But it was still an accident. A young lady, what am I doing? It was curious at first, but slowly, I started to like you and want to be your woman. You are all ready. Yi Minghu trembled, and the woman snorted, feeling uncomfortable and contented. Ming Ming, do you like me too? She asked. Like, Otherwise I would work so hard. Yi Ming said with a smile, without stopping. But we haven't known each other for a long time. Why do you like me? I like you for the same reason you like me, Yi Ming said. Cats eat fish, dogs eat meat, all the same reason. You are the dog. Nangong Weiwei Jiao. Then you are a cat. Yi Ming grinned and became more brave. The light in the room went out. It was completely dark, only Nangong Weiwei Jiao's gasping voice, learning Yi Ming's roar. An hour later, the lights turned on. Yi Mingchen looked at Nangong Weiwei who was lying in her arms. She had fallen asleep and slept soundly, with a smile of contentment on her face. Well. Yi Ming sighed. He could definitely refuse, but why didn't he refuse? Bei Ming. The master is in trouble now. Yi Ming. What trouble? Nangong Weiwei is going to marry into the realm of God. Once the Protoss finds that she is no longer a virgin, she will be furious, and her life will be worrying. The host must not sit idly by and be implicated. The leader will also resent his master when he learns about it. Yi Ming. That is to say, I must leave Nebula within a month. Yes. Bei Ming. The master must leave as soon as possible. Yi Ming glanced at Nangong Weiwei again and said, you are really in trouble, but since I have the same sex, I can't ignore you. After that, he ordered the time and space boy to take him to the legendary school. As soon as he left, Nangong Weiwei opened her eyes, and she sighed softly, showing sorrow. The white cat came in and said, Xiao Wei, are you sorry? Nangong Weiwei. Of course I do not regret it. I am going to the Protoss. I am holding a mortal heart and leaving my clean body to the man I like. I am willing. But this way, you have no way out. White cat said. Nangong Weiwei looked at the white cat. Xiao Bai, you are a descendant of the ancient Protoss, powerful, can't you help me? No, White Cat said, unless I can restore the blood of my ancestors, but it will take a long time to practice. Nothing more than death, Nangong Weiwei said coldly. White Cat. That kid is gone and seems to want to save you. He can't help it. Nangong Weiwei shook her head. Forget it, he'll be gone, so as not to be affected. Yi Ming soon came to the legendary school. Yunfeng was not there, so he directly found Tang Yuexian. Tang Yuexian seemed to have been waiting for her, still in that place, still looking at him like that. You are back, Tang Yuexian said. Yi Ming saw the ceremony. Master. Are you here? Tang Yuexian asked. Tang Yuexian nodded. Very good. I see your breath is not stable, isn't it just getting better with people? Yi Ming looked awkward. Master, you can see it all. The other party is Nangong Weiwei. Yi Ming nodded. Yes. They are truly unparalleled, they seem to be. Tang Yuexian murmured. Yi Ming's heart moved. Why did Master say this? Has anyone already known? Since Han Juyin met you, all the results have been expected. Tang Yuexian said. Cooperation between Master Shi and Han Juyin. Yi Ming asked tentatively. Since you are my disciple, you also work for me, and do not hide from you as a teacher. The major forces of the Tianyuan continent, as well as some forces of other civilizations, have cooperated with legendary academies. We have only one goal, which is to subvert the nebulae. And turn it into our place. Quote. Yi Ming was startled. But how can it be done? The nebula religion is powerful and supported by the Protoss. If everything goes well, we have 80% confidence. And the whole process, you are the key. Tang Yuexian said. You have to do 3 things. First, learn from the Nangong's prosperity, and learn infinite amounts of merit. Second, kill the Protoss Tianjiao Wutu and take Nangong Weiwei away. Third, steal the Protoss treasure, Yu Shending. Quote. Yi Ming. So, disciples are going to the Protoss. Yes, Nangong Weiwei is going to marry into the Protoss, and you go along with it, and then take the opportunity to kill UTU and steal the ***** tripod. Tang Yuexian said, After you have learned the infinite amount of cultivation, you can receive the ***** tripod. And open the treasury of the Protoss. Quote. Yi Ming. Why must I do this? This is a fixed number, and you are the only opportunity. Tang Yuexian said, those people have cultivated a lot of people, but now only you have a chance. Yi Ming. After what? After that, you took Nangong Weiwei back to the legendary academy. Then, you entered the land of creation with Yunfeng, looking for the treasure of creation. Tang Yuexian said, this is your fourth mission. If it succeeds, will the disciple be rewarded? Yi Ming asked what he was most concerned about. He was so dead and devoted all his life. If there was no good at all, it would be a loss. Tang Yuexian stared at him and said, as a member of the human race, you have an obligation to do it. As my disciple, you have an obligation to do it too. Of course, the benefits are also there. When you enter the land of creation, the light of creation in it and the voice of creation is an extremely important and extremely rare experience for you. The divine light of creation can make your body, spirit, and destiny reach the perfect state and have unlimited potential. The voice of creation, it can inspire your wisdom, grow your knowledge, and make endless uses. Quote. Ming blinked his eyes. Master, is that all? Tang Yuexian. I will tell you another secret. The place where the artifact of creation is born is often accompanied by the pool of creation. If you have the ability to take it away, its value will be far above the light of creation and the voice of creation. Yi Ming thought for a while, and nodded. It's small for good, it's important to be able to contribute to the great cause of the human race, and to be filial to the master. Tang Yuexian. Okay, you go back and complete the first 3 tasks first. Once you're done, you will be promoted to the Undead House and sent to the Supreme College. Yi Ming. Thank you, Master. I wonder where Brother Feng has gone. Yunfeng is in retreat. Then you will enter the land of creation together. It is very dangerous. You and Yunfeng must support each other. Only in this way can it be easier to survive. Ming. Naturally, Zhao Feng and I are both brothers and worshippers. We will work together. Tang Yuexian. You go, if you have any need, you can contact the teacher. Then, handed a royal blue jade symbol to Yi Ming. This jade symbol is a musical note, can be used multiple times, in different large exchanges between the worlds are very precious. Yi Ming received the jade charm, and left, returning to the Nebula continent. When he returned to Nangong Weiwei's room, the other party was gone. Where is the man? He frowned, and was about to go out for a search. The door creaked open. Yungong's half-turned Nangong Weiwei moved the lotus step lightly and walked in with a bowl of soup in her hand. She saw Yi Ming. Her eyes brightened, and said, Mr. Ming, I thought before, that this bowl of bajun soup was brought, was there anyone to drink it? Yi Ming looked at her delicate appearance, and her heart was hot, and she could not help but hold her in her arms, grabbed the soup bowl from side to side, and laughed. Are you afraid that I will leave you? Nangong Weiwei sighed. If it was known by the Nebula leader, you slept with his daughter, wouldn't you be lifeless? Yi Ming snorted. He doesn't deserve to be your father. He knows how to marry a Protoss like entering a fire pit. Why? He is your master. You are suspected of saying this, Nangong Weiwei said intentionally. I'm not the right person. I have decided to take you away, and I'm ready to break with. Nangong Weiwei was startled. What did you say? You want to break with your father? If I save you, I must be his enemy. This is also no way. Yi Ming sighed. No, Nangong Weiwei shook her head. I can't let you lose your future or even your life. For me, no one can save me. What you do is futile, but it will affect you. I said, you are my woman. In order to save you, I will not understand all the costs, and offend anyone, even if the other party is the Nebula leader. Yi Ming said in a word, very seriously. Nangong Weiwei trembled and said, even if you know that this will die. What about death? Being able to die with a beloved woman is probably a kind of happiness. Yi Ming was in the hometown of the human race, but has seen a lot of love movies. Immediately, Nangong Weiwei's eye circles suddenly became red, saying, "You don't have to be so good to me, I'm not worth it." Yi Ming sighed. "If you don't deserve me, what else in the world is worth me? Don't worry, you won't marry into the Protoss, and I won't die. I want to live with you in the old world and see the three realms together, the scenery, the food of the heavens, and above all, we have to have a bunch of little baddies." Quote. Of course you can, believe me? Yi Ming asked. Nangong Weiwei nodded strongly. "I believe. Trust me, listen to me." Yi Ming said, "I will take you to a safe place and give you a different life." Nangong Weiwei never had such longings in her life. There was a wave in her heart and she said, "Brother Ming, if I can get your promise, I will be willing even if I die." Yi Ming smiled slightly. "It's stupid. With me, you will be safe. What will you talk about?" Nangong Weiwei nodded strongly and asked, "Brother Ming, shall we go now?" Yi Ming, "Before I do, I have something to do. By the way, 1 month later, your father asked you to marry a Protoss. You can tell me about the specific situation." Nangong Weiwei thought about it. "My father seems to have prepared a generous amount of dowry and a group of followers of honor, and the rest is nothing." As soon as Yi Ming heard of the dowry, he asked, "Oh, I don't know what dowry your father sent. When he wanted to come, the other party was a Protoss, and the dowry was never shabby. There are so many treasures, and there are tens of billions of eternal coins with less value." Nangong Weiwei said, "Well, my nebula teaches send countless treasures every year, no less than this." Yi Ming asked again, "What about ceremonies?" "The ceremonies include 30 highest equipped 9-star battleships, 10 nebula fortresses, and 1 nebula ship." Nangong Weiwei said, "The nebula fortress and the nebula ship were given by the Protoss at the beginning of the establishment of the nebula sect. A nebula fortress can fight more than 5 9-star battleships, and a nebula ship can fight 10 nebula fortress. I heard my father said that if the nebula ship starts the core array, it can even fight against the main **** for a period of time." Quote. Yi Ming was taken aback. If it is so powerful, then its price must be very high. That's nature. A nebula fortress, worth 10 trillion yuan of longevity coins. The price of nebula ships is as high as hundreds of millions of eternal coins. Nangong Weiwei said. Yi Ming laughed. As the saying goes, either don't do it, you must do it. Since we are leaving, the dowry and ceremonies will be collected together and given to the Protoss. Nangong Weiwei was excited and nodded hard. "I listen to Ming brother." "Just Ming brother, what should we do next?" Yi Ming, "I'm going to learn a technique from your father. I've learned infinitely. Have you heard of it?" Nangong Weiwei showed a shocked look. "Various merit-making exercises. That's one of the highest prodigies of the Protoss. How could my father teach you?" Yi Ming's heart moved. "Oh, actually the supreme extinction of the Protoss. How could the Protoss easily teach him to your father? This work is divided into 2 parts. The upper part is Wuliang Shen Gong, and the lower half is Tianhua Gong." Nangong Weiwei said, "My father only learned Wuliang divine work. As for the heavenly gong, he cannot learn it." Yi Ming nodded. "I see. It seems that he cannot teach me. Even he is not qualified to teach me such exercises." Nangong Weiwei nodded. "So Brother Ming, what are you going to do?" Yi Ming suddenly got a headache. This was really a difficult thing. He couldn't force the other party to impart infinite magic. At this time, Nangong Weiwei suddenly said, "Bright brother, my father has been training the physical body for decades, and he may have taught them infinite magic." "Huh," Yi Ming said for a moment. "Cultivate the physical body? How do you say that?" Nangong Weiwei said the truth, that when Nangong fought the enemy in the heyday, although it won, it also hurt the body, and it is impossible to recover. To this end, he began to cultivate the physical body in order to seize the house in the future. Let these physical bodies practice immense amount of magical power, and they will be able to perfection in the future. Yi Ming. So, the master has practiced skills such as winning the house. Yes, my father has practiced the skill of moving flowers and receiving wood, and he has reached the 9th turn of the 9th round of reincarnation, taking other people's bodies, only in one thought. Nangong Weiwei said. When Yi Ming moved, he had a way to say, presumably, the leader must want to find a perfect body. Nangong. It's natural. It's just a pity that his father has cultivated him. He is not satisfied. He has been searching hard outside these years and even selected among the disciples of the nebula. Unfortunately, there is no suitable one. He didn't talk to Weiwei Nangong, only. The two returned their heads, so it was difficult to separate, and they talked to the bed again after a few words, but it was already bright. After getting up, Yi Ming went to meet the nebula's Nangong Shangxi. The Nangong's healthy mood didn't seem to be very good. Yi Ming met him, but he just said a word, not cold. Yi Ming said, Master Wanan, my disciples brought a few treasures to honor you this time. With that said, he took out a few treasures picked up from the corpses of aliens, and they were all valuable things. However, Nangong Shangxi had never seen anything. He glanced, but nodded slightly, saying, It's rare that you have filial piety. Ming, Master, the apprentice has a great. Nangong Shangxi's eyes widened slightly. Oh. What other gifts do you have? Have you heard of Supreme Master Gong? Yi Ming said. Nangong nodded in the heyday. Of course I have heard of it, but it is incomplete in the world. I wanted to cultivate as a teacher at the beginning, but it's a pity that I can't do it. Yi Ming. The disciples happen to know the third most important cultivation method of Supreme Master Gong, and are willing to tell Master. Nangong's flourishing eyes brightened. Oh. You know. Yi Ming. Master, please see. As he said, he exhibited the physical powers of the invincible body, covering him with a strange light. Nangong's prosperity rejoices. 9 turns of the golden body, you have succeeded. Yi Ming. The disciples are also lucky. I learned this set of exercises by chance. I heard that Master's physical body had been damaged, so I wanted to tell him or help. Nangong was very happy and said, Yes, you are a good disciple, and I am very pleased with the teacher. Then his eyes flashed and he said, However, the physical body of the teacher has been restored, and the realm is also the longevity and 9 realms. It is no longer necessary to practice this technique. Yi Ming. It's not thoughtful to the apprentice. Your mind is already taught by the teacher, so you don't need to blame yourself. In addition, there is a set of exercises for you to teach you. You try to cultivate and see if it can be successful. Immediately, a set of mysterious exercises appeared in his mind, which is the infinite amount of magical skills. Yi Ming hurriedly thanked him, but Nangong shook his hands and said, Okay, you go to practice. If you enter the country, tell the teacher and give pointers for the teacher. As soon as Yi Ming left, next to Nangong's success, an old man with white beard appeared. Tong Yanhefa, he said, the physical body of the leader has been found. Nangong Shangxi. This son has enough qualifications, and he has a rare golden body. He just doesn't know if he can practice infinite amount of skill. That infinite amount of skill requires extremely high qualifications. I studied hard for many years and only practiced the first 3. Man. Teacher, this son is very intelligent and has a great chance of success in practice. Nangong Shangxi. I don't have much time. If I don't find a proper body, the soul will be damaged. If he can really repair it, he can only use him. But it's a pity that my apprentice should have a great future and become my left and right arms. Quote. Decades, old people dare not have the slightest slack. He Lao said, You can use it at. Very well, I hope Yi Ming can practice the infinite amount of divine skill to 5 or more. In that case, I may have the opportunity to break through to the main god. Nangong Shangxi showed hope. He'd better not let me down. After leaving, Yi Ming said to Bai Mingdao, It seems that the other party has selected Bei Ming. Although the master has received immense power, the situation can become very dangerous. No, Yi Ming said, he preached my infinite skill. It shows that my cultivation of infinite skill is extremely important to him, or he will not teach this skill casually. So before I practice to a certain level, he won't fight against me. Bei Ming. The Protoss of the Supreme Tribe, it must be extremely difficult to cultivate. Presumably the previous, physical bodies, did not succeed, otherwise Nangong would not find a master in the flourishing age. Yi Ming. I will try. Whether it succeeds or not depends on luck. Yi Ming didn't go to Nangong Weiwei anymore, but returned to his residence in the Nebula religion, trying to practice infinite magic. Among the exercises taught to him by Nangong Shengshi, there is a detailed introduction to the infinite power. Wuliang Gongfa is one of the three major Protoss and one of the supreme Gong Fa of the Lingtian clan. Even in the Lingtian Protoss, there are only core characters before they can practice infinite amount of cultivation. However, it is extremely difficult to practice the infinite amount of cultivation. In each generation, only a few magical skills can succeed, and it is difficult to practice to the extreme. Infinite amount of natural energy, divided into two parts. The upper part is infinite amount of magical power, the lower part is natural fortune. The immeasurable divine power is only ninefold, but the natural heavenly power is 24, a total of 33. Zhou Zhang's immeasurable magic power, each time he practices one, his potential is doubled. By the ninth, he has almost unlimited potential for development. But when it comes to creating heavenly power, every weight can create a weight of heaven. When you practice to the weight of 24, you can make the weight of 24. Every heavy sky, there will be a heaven, and infinite sky soldiers, and the higher the level of the sky, the stronger the combat power. Yi Ming didn't have any thoughts about the creation of heavenly Gong. He just wanted to cultivate the infinite amount of divine Gong. This immeasurable divine power fits perfectly with the great potential of his cultivation world, and I wonder if he can assist each other. Therefore, Yi Ming was not in a hurry to cultivate the infinite amount of magical powers immediately, but decided to first cultivate the great potential of the heavens and the earth to the extreme. Last time, he practiced the great potential of the heavens and the earth to the point where he could reach the extreme. The potential of heaven and earth is 36 in total. He first reached the 9th level, but later swallowed the spiritual source and reached the 18th level in one fell swoop. After so long, he believes that part of the spiritual source has digested and absorbed, and the great potential of this world can be improved. Sure enough, as soon as he practiced, the great potential of the heavens and the earth burst out, breaking through to the 19th stage, and then all the way to the end. 3 days later, he successfully reached the 24th stage. The 24-fold heavy potential of the heavens and the earth has increased many times compared to the 18-fold. At this step, Yi Ming immediately felt that the subsequent breakthrough was very difficult, so he accepted it when he saw good. Instead of continuing to practice, he went to practice the life and death. The reason why he practiced the fourth most important 9 life and death merits of the supreme merit is that it has the same potential as the great potential of that day and place. With each round of life and death, the potential of qualifications is increased. However, the cultivation of this skill is huge. For the first time, he spent 7 or 8 trillion yuan. The second time, consumption will double, requiring more than a trillion coins. Yi Ming didn't plan to spend the money himself. He contacted Tang Yuexian first and said that he was practicing immense amount of skill and needed a lot of precious materials. After Tang Yuexian got the news from Yufu, 1 hour he prepared the 72 precious materials needed by Yi Ming and sent them to the messenger. Soon, Yi Ming got something and started to cultivate. He killed the boy of time and space, throwing him into a turbulent space and time, and the terrible force of space squeezed him, creating great pressure. Life is at the brink of life and death every moment. However, a strange situation happened. Yi Ming had not yet practiced the 9 life and death skills, and the eternal power in his body actually started to run on his own. This eternal power, which he cultivated in the underworld, is called Great Eternity Doesn't Come. It was obtained from the memory of the Emperor Xingtian, which is very extraordinary. Great eternity does not come with 9 merits. If you practice first, you can have eternal power. This eternal power, not affected by the law, is very special. In the chaos of time and space, eternal power runs on its own, excluding the laws of time and space, and the pressure immediately disappears. Yi Ming was speechless, thinking that without the threat of life and death, how could this be practiced? But he didn't force it, and he was here to practice the great eternity. I wonder if his qualifications have been improved. In just a few days, this great eternal immortal power has actually been completed. Leaving time and space, Yi Ming decided to turn to Tang Yuexian a second time. This time, he had to go to the legendary school again. After the master and apprentice met, Yi Ming explained his intentions. Tang Yuexian said, as the edge of life and death. In the legendary school, there is a Jedi, called the Temple of Nine Dead Life, which is used to punish the most evil people. Finding is for you. Yi Ming said, it is a place to punish sinners. It doesn't matter where it is, the key is very useful to you. You can never die, but you have to endure endless pain. After waving, Yi Ming flew in front of the hall, and went to a hall. There were 2 talented men in the hall, one in red and one in white, expressionless, eyes cold. Seeing Yi Ming, the old man in red beckoned, and a large pool appeared on the ground. On the pool, there was a pile. Yi Ming was pressed on it by invisible force, and all 4 limbs were tied with ropes. Mingxin was furry and said, what are we? The old man didn't speak, and when he stretched out his hand with a false press, blood glowed in the pond, all rushing to Yi Ming. In a short time, countless poisonous insects and poisonous snakes emerged from the blood, like a locust that saw blood, desperately rushed to Yi Ming. These things were small, and they immediately penetrated Yi Ming's nostrils, ears, and eyes, which made him scream. The poisonous insects were biting him, entering his stomach, lungs, and suffering. There will be a white liquid flowing down the top of his head, and once he pours on him, he will immediately recover from the injury, and at the same time magnify his pain tenfold. As soon as Yi Ming's eyelids rolled, he passed out. I don't know how long. He woke up and found that the poisonous insect was still biting him. Just die like this, several times in a row. In the 4th round, he finally settled down and practiced the skills of life and death, but he broke through easily. He immediately shouted, Master! Tang Yuexian appeared immediately, and he waved to set him free. Yi Ming quickly took out 72 precious materials and began to break through. Treasures turned into 72 treasure lights, rushed into his body, made him glorious. The blink of an eye, his body and mind changed, and he officially entered the 2nd turn. When the magical power is 10%, he does not stay for a while, and still returns to the nebulae to continue to practice infinite power. The reason why Wuliang divine power is difficult to cultivate is to gather Wuliang Shanhai. That immeasurable sea of God is where Yi Ming's strengths come together. His qualifications are not good enough, his understanding is not high enough, and his luck is not enough to succeed. At this time, Yi Ming brought the 2nd turn of Zhusheng's life and death, and the 24-fold potential of heaven and earth came. With less than 1 day of spiritual practice, the spiritual world banged, with a loud noise, eternal power, great potential of heaven and earth, force and so on merged together to open up a sea of infinite power. This is the infinite sea of gods. The infinite amount of Shanhai looks endless and endless. Yi Ming's godlike shape sits in it and is nourished by it. Even his blood god, 3-pointed 2-edged sword, and so on floated in the sea of immeasurable gods, washed by them. Suddenly, Yi Ming felt that he was different. The change was greater than the 2nd turn in practicing Zhu Shenggang. A spirit, rushing out of his head, straight into Zhu Shao. The spirit was shaking, like a beam of light, which alarmed countless people. It turned out to be successful. It seems that my previous preparations were right. Yi Ming was overjoyed, and his heart was open. Xingyan, Nangong's heyday almost jumped up, and it appeared near Yi Ming's residence. He stepped. Yi Ming felt the fluctuations in space and quickly went out. Master. He beamed. The apprentice succeeded. Nangong laughed and said, "Good apprentice, you didn't let the teacher down. Very good, very good." He even said too good. Yi Ming. It's all a master's reward, otherwise how can I have the opportunity to practice such a great skill? Nangong Shangxi. Apprentice, if you need it, just tell the teacher. Yi Ming thought not to be in vain, and immediately said, "The apprentice has also practiced an exercise and needs some precious materials. However, I have limited money and can't support it. I don't know if the nebulae can provide it." Nangong shook his hands and said, "Little things, you just need to open a list to prepare for the division." Yi Ming was rude, and immediately turned the third and fourth turn of Zhushangong into the precious materials needed for the fifth turn, and opened up his mind and gave it to Nangong Shangxi. Nangong Shengxiuan didn't think too much, but when he saw the list, with his knowledge, he immediately knew that these thousands of precious materials were worth hundreds of billions of long-lived coins. Thanks to the nebula religion controlled by Nangong's prosperous age, the annual income reached hundreds of billions of eternal coins. Although Yi Ming's requirements are many, they are still within the scope. He immediately smiled and said, "These materials will be prepared for the teacher as soon as possible. But what kind of exercises do you practice? How much is it so expensive?" Yi Ming. Returning to master is a method of improving physical potential and developing physical power. The cost of cultivation is extremely high. Therefore, although the apprentice has the qualification to practice, it can be delayed. As soon as he heard that he could improve his physical body, Nangong Shengxi immediately felt no loss. After all, this physical body belonged to him in the future. The better Yi Ming adjusted, the better it was for him. He immediately said, "You can rest assured that you will be ready soon, and you can continue to practice." Yi Ming then resigned. When he returned to his residence, another disciple sent prizes and warrants. It turned out that he had been promoted to a 6-star disciple. You know, most of the 6-star disciples are Chengshengxing figures. Nangong's heyday is obviously walking through the back door for his disciples. The 6-star disciple naturally improved his residence greatly. He moved into a city from a young place, and he was the owner of the city himself, with great power. However, he had no interest in managing the city or anything, he completely delegated authority to others, and he only cared for cultivation. On the third day of his move, Nangong's prosperity sent him all the treasures he listed. As soon as the delivery person left, Nangong Weiwei arrived. Seeing Yiren, Yi Ming was very happy, grabbed her and asked, "Weiwei, do you miss me?" Nangong Weiwei put a note on his forehead and said, "Who wants you? I'm here to see if you steal a woman." Yi Ming screamed, "Where does this come from? I haven't married you yet, and you say that I stole a woman. If you marry me later, wouldn't you break the vinegar jar every day? I hate it." Nangong Weiwei had a powder punch, but it didn't hurt at all. Yi Ming grabbed her hands and said, "Find a chance, I will ask you to go to the Protoss." Nangong Weiwei nodded and said, "Brother Ming, I pick something for you, and see if you can use it." Then, he handed a storage ring to Yi Ming. Yi Ming opened it and opened his eyes wide. It turned out that it was full of all kinds of gadgets, and it was very valuable. He made a rough calculation, and the content inside is worth tens of billions of long-lived coins. Although it was nothing to him. "Vivi, where's it from?" he asked. Nangong Weiwei. "I went to the treasure house and took it out. I will go there once a day to give Mingge something." Yi Mingqi said, "You can take it anywhere. Of course, I'm Miss Xingyanfu, and everything in it can be used. As long as it is not something very precious, Dad will not question." Nangong Weiwei said. Yi Ming grinned, and said that she was really an outgoing girl. Before she got through the door, she started picking things up in the morning. What if she got through the door? "I'm afraid that even Xingyanfu dare to move away," he said. "These are small gains. Don't go to the treasure house again, lest the leader doubt." Nangong Weiwei thought about it and nodded. Okay, I listen to Ming brother. Also, you don't have much contact with me these days. If anything happens, I will look for you in person. Yi Ming said. As soon as Nangong Weiwei agreed, a big white cat turned out behind her. Yi Ming, the cat, has seen it, but he didn't care. However, this time, the flower in his animal skin pocket just woke up. He poked out his head and glanced at his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes flashed and he flew towards the white cat. The white cat stunned, ran away, turned into a white on, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Yi Ming froze and asked, Vivi, is your cat a male or a female? Nangong Weiwei was shocked and said, Mother. But it is an ancient god, how can it be chased by Brother Ming's cat? Because it's a bite-catching cat, Yi Ming said, I'm just afraid to look at your big white cat. As soon as Shalwa was gone, Yi Ming didn't bother to care for a long time. After Nangong Weiwei left, he continued his practice. However, the second breakthrough of Wuliang Gong was quite difficult. Until the day of Nangong Weiwei's marriage was approaching, he failed to make a breakthrough. On the first day of marriage, Yi Mingyi found Nangong again and said, Master, I am very happy to hear that sister is going to marry. I am able to marry a Protoss, which is the creation of sister. The apprentice wondered whether to send the sister Chang, a lot of people who talk, lest he miss his relatives and friends on the way. Nangong Shengshi apparently did not expect Yi Ming to make such a request. He took a closer look at Yi Ming and found nothing abnormal. He also felt that it was not inappropriate to do so. He immediately nodded and agreed. After returning to the Protoss, you will return immediately. Do not delay cultivation. Yi Ming. Yes, the apprentice took note. Nebula's marriage to a daughter was originally a major event, but in fact, the matter was carried out in a very low-key way. Ordinary people on the Nebula continent didn't even know it. Only a few high-level personnel knew about it that day. 109 star battleships, 10 Nebula fortresses, and 1 Nebula ship set off. The battleship was full of servants and treasures, and of course the **** team was very luxurious. Yi Ming and Nangong Weiwei are on the mothership. Yi Ming is back to the mothership. It has a large space in it, mountains and water, and an excellent environment. There is a palace in the huge space, and Nangong Weiwei sits in the palace. At this point, the servants were all stretched out. Yi Ming was holding Nangong Weiwei, and the two played for a few times, already full of joy. Nangong Weiwei's face glowed with red clouds, panting. Her breath was still a little urgent. She pressed Yi Ming under her body, pinched her nose and asked, Ming, I have heard about you, there are many around me, are the beauty entangled? Yi Ming is a little embarrassed. He doesn't say Su Lan, Feng Bingxian, Luo Bingxian, Yan Ruyu, etc., who have not yet been rescued, will be explained one by one in the future. He said, who are you talking about? Except for a few occasions, I bet she has always been like a jade. I'm afraid Brother Ming said so to every woman. Nangong Weiwei pursed her mouth. Yi Ming. In fact, even if there are more women, what can you do? Yu Mingge and I can separate hundreds of millions and treat everyone with one heart and soul. This is not nonsense. He can indeed get along with many women at the same time, and each other do not disturb. Nangong Weiwei swaggered. In fact, I don't mind how many women Ming has. I just hope you don't leave me alone. Without you, I would be homeless. People who practice spiritually have very low requirements for their partners. After all, they have supernatural powers. The number is not a problem. As long as their hearts are unchanged, women tend to be satisfied. Yi Ming kissed her in the mouth. Baby, rest assured, I will treat you consistently. Nangong Weiwei sighed. Why do we say that our women are so low and low? Men can have 3 wives and 4 wives, and spend free time in flowers, but we have to go from one to the other. This is too unfair. It's not fair, Yi Ming said, but there is no way. Men are selfish, and they tend to be higher than women and have greater power than women. Of course, there are some special civilizations. Women can have many men. God is fair. Although women can't be as easy as men, they have the least responsibility and the most dangerous experience. Quote. Well, you're reasonable anyway. Nangong Weiwei laughed. The mothership traveled for 3 days, and the captain's voice suddenly heard from outside. Lingtian God realm is here. When they walked outside the cabin, they saw the endless void, and the endless divine light surging, revealing the numerous palaces. This is the realm ruled by the Lingtian Protoss. A golden rainbow came flying and landed on the mothership. 12 humans in gold robes walked slowly, first as a gift from Wei Nanchao, saying, "Welcome to Miss Wang, Miss Jinan." Nangong Weiwei nodded and asked, "Are you only?" A human said, "Miss, we are just a humble human race. How can the deity honor and greet us? Therefore, it is only greeted by the little ones. Miss, please." Yi Ming narrowed his eyes and saw that these people are slaves who are full of slavery and serve the Protoss. They have long lost their self-esteem and become obedient like dogs. A group of people walked past Jin Hong, got on a sedan chair, and was carried by them to a huge palace. At the same time, the battleships and followers remained outside. When he got on the sedan, a golden robe said humanly, "Human races can't set foot in the realm of God at will. This little brother, please leave." Yi Ming laughed. "I have the treasures from the Nebula Lord, and I have to meet God." The man thought for a while and said, "Okay. But you must not move around at will. The who marries the young lady has not yet returned, so you have to wait a few days." Yi Ming nodded. Natural. After sending the two to the palace, the group of gold-robed men left, and none of them remained. The huge palace had only a huge bed, and nothing was around it, only tall pillars stood. The hall was very cold, there was no wind, and it was very quiet. Looking at the environment here, Yi Ming frowned. What world does God live in such ghost places? Wei Nangong is a little worried. Ming, what shall we do next? Yi Ming. Don't worry, we can leave soon. After an hour, the temple door was suddenly opened. A Protoss with silver scales on his head, more than 2 meters tall, wearing silver armor, came in. The Protoss smiled, closed the door tightly after entering the temple, and then squinted and looked at Nangong Weiwei, saying, "Woman, come here." Nangong Weiwei was so shocked that she hid behind Yi Ming immediately. When the Protoss saw Yi Ming, his face was cold, and he said, "How can there be a man here? You, get out of me, or die." Bold. Dare to speak to the deity like this, you have already committed the crime of death. The Protoss sternly said, "I am a cousin, I want to sleep this woman, and taste the taste of Miss Nebula. Oh, presumably more interesting than the average woman." Quote. Yi Ming clearly felt that Nangong Weiwei was shaking. He took her hand and said, "He dare to say that, it is already a dead body." Brush. A rope, like a snake, appeared under the Protoss, then followed the trend and tied him firmly. It turned out that this rope was exactly the dragon rope that Yi Ming had obtained before. Later he broke the restriction and sacrificed it into a magic weapon. The Protoss struggled hard, but couldn't move. This bundle of dragon ropes can even kill the power of longevity, and the Protoss in front of it can obviously not fight. An expression of anger appeared on his face, and said, "A jerk, dare to be rude to the deity." Yi Ming slowly walked up, raised his hand and pressed it, and immediately broke the opponent's head. Then he refined a drop of blood from the other side. He possessed the blood of the origin and the means of extracting memories from the blood. He knew immediately the life of this Protoss. It is learned from the memory that the Protoss did indeed have a Yu Shen Ding, but instead of being stored in the treasure house as a treasure, it was simply placed in the center of the pantheon for suppressing large groups. After Yi Ming got this memory, he immediately cleared the body, and then used Qianqin Shenyi to become that Protoss, and said to Nangong Weiwei, "Weiwei, wait for me for a while, I will come and go." Nangong Weiwei was uneasy. Ming, what are you going to do? Take one thing, and when we come back, we leave this ghost place. Yi Ming finished, and as soon as he finished speaking,